Welcome to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week.
We sure are.
And we are very lucky. We have Patti Negri with us today. She is a psychic medium and good witch. She's best known for her reoccurring role on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus's #1 show, Ghost Adventures, and the #1 paranormal show on YouTube, Overnight, with Elton Casey and Corey Schreier. I probably am just butchering these names. She is the international best-selling author of Old World Magic for the Modern World, Tips, Tricks, and Techniques to Balance, Empower, and Create a Life You Love. Patti's body of work includes appearances on dozens of shows from Portals to Hell, MasterChef, Wipeout, and America's Got Talent to influencers, YouTubers, and crossover talents like Lily Singh, Laura DIY, Good Mythical Morning, and Awesomeness TV. She's graced numerous magazine covers, contributed to over 20 books, and conducted seances on radio, film, and TV, working with such legends as Emma Stone, John Voight, Josh Duhamel, Chevy Chase, and Gregory Hines. Patti has a popular weekly podcast called The Witching Hour and has just launched her second weekly podcast, The Witches Movie Coven. Patti is partner and vice president of Paraflix.com streaming service and partner and educator at universitymagicus.com, an online spirituality school. So welcome, Patti. We're really excited to have you join us today.
Very much so.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So they call you the Good Witch. How did you get that name? Is that part of the journey?
I think so. Well, #1, I am a dang big fan of Wizard of Oz. I actually have that great big pink fluffy dress, the Glinda dress. I am still trying to work on showing up in a bubble, but working on it. No, I don't. I'm good. I mean, good means a lot of things. I don't like white witch per se because it has so many connotations, and good has so many connotations that are all positive. I do work in the light. I do positive magic because I've never found reason to do anything but. If you can create everything and get everything you want from positive magic, why live in a world of negativity and darkness? Because you live in the world you create.
Right.
So that I like the Good Witch. That's it. You know.
I love that. I love that because it's so true, right? And yeah, I agree with you on that. And so you've written some books. Like, can you tell us about your journey and how you kind of got to where you're at? And
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was different. Since I was a little kid, I was talking to spirits. I was talking to deceased. And I just, when I was little, like a toddler, I knew the so-called imaginary friends little kids have weren't all imaginary. They were real spirits that could give me information and playmates and things. And I honestly believe kids really can see. It just gets taught out of us in our modern Western non-mystical society where everything becomes your imaginary friend. And luckily it didn't get taught out of me. Mom was always like, yeah, grandma did that too. So I really did my first seance. I was 7 or 8 years old in my little suburban Long Beach, Los Angeles area home, realizing I didn't know dead people. So I'm trying to come up with every movie star or whatever that I knew in my little windowless, lightless hall filled with orbs and lights and shadows and spirits. And I ran out screaming, but was jumping up and down going, this is real. And this is something that we controlled because I literally figured out how to lift the veil and close the veil. So I spent my life just studying it, science, occult science, metaphysics, spirituality, religion of every form, and take it down to energy so I could speak in any of those languages because it's really all just energy. You could talk academic, you could talk science, you could talk spirituality, you could talk pagan. And on the witchy side of things, same thing. It's just in me. I'd be in my same age, little tiny kid in my backyard, picking rosemary and picking mint and stuffing it in my mom's wallet, knowing it would bring her more money and prosperity. And, she didn't quite understand that. Like, what are you doing? That's dirt in my wallet. No, this is not dirt. This is money. And years later, I study herbs and apothecary, and yeah, I was right. I think it's in us. So on top of tap into what we have, that natural intuition and instinct that we have, or we used to have, I've worked at it all this time. So that's my journey. I kept it very separate though. I think I was raised without any kind of religion. My mom would have been a Protestant and my dad would have been a Jew, but my grandfather was this very famous atheist, very famous, again, Hollywood elite, academic, very humanist. He ran the Humanist Society of Friends. So God was a dirty word in our family. We didn't talk about it. I didn't really know why, but I would drive past in the backseat a church or a temple or a mosque or a park and see this energy, and I wanted to go in, but we just didn't talk about that stuff for some reason. And I knew Grandpa was this almighty magical man. But I think I was 13 when I wanted to go see some like cute Christian rock band back in the day at a regular old church. And I got brave enough to ask my mom if I can go to a church. And I would have felt safer going, can I go to a rave? Can I go to a And she's like, you can do whatever you want. And I could do whatever I want. I became a seeker. I started checking out every form of Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, and then I discovered that whole Wicca thing in the 80s. Like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is my knowledge of nature. This is I talk to tree spirits. And then from there, it even evolved. I can't even say I'm Wiccan anymore. I've just so expanded from that. I'm definitively a witch. I'm definitively a pagan. But I will draw from every belief system out there, because it's again this through line through, so you just kind of change the names, some of the deities to protect. So, but again, I kept it really separate because I was in Hollywood. I ran a production company, a very corporate production company called Brain Brew Entertainment, still have it. And I'm like, but I produced big song and dance extravaganzas and I'm like, and I was an actor, and I'm like, these people just cannot know that. Number one, I talk to dead people. Number two, I dance around bonfires in a cloak. It's like, this just doesn't seem right, even in Hollywood. So I kept it really separate until 2008 and the big corporate crash. In corporate entertainment, which was my bread and butter, became a dirty word. And all of the shows, we can't create a big show for our employees when we're laying off people. And everything just dried up immediately. At the same time, reality television was huge grow. And somebody I knew who knew my ability with seances to lift the veil where everybody can see and knew my personal practice, they go, Patti, we really need you to do a seance on our TV show. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. That's my private life. I private. Please, please, please. No, please, no, please, no. And I'm looking at my empty calendar and I'm like, well, what's the name of the show? And literally they go, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster and it's on country music television. I'm like, oh, who would watch that? Nobody would watch that. Little did I know everybody would watch that. But I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do it. And it was the most fulfilling, amazing, of heart passion thing. I was able to help a human little girl that everybody thought she was crazy because she was drawing portals on the ceiling of her motorhome. I'm like, no, there are portals on the ceiling of her mobile home. I was able to help cross a spirit to uncross. I was able to open the mind, which is my whole gig in life, and a new possibility. I don't care what you believe, just think, to the whole crew and the cast. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. All my training in improv, all my training in camera work, everything came into play. I know how to talk in sound bites. I know how to be true. Everything was pure honest. And I'm like, this is the funnest thing I've ever done, but I'm never going to do it again because this is my private life. A couple months later, when it aired, I was like, oh, that was fun, but nope. I got to keep this. People cannot know I do this. And the very first phone call that next morning was from my biggest corporate client that I produce shows for nationwide, like a bank or something. Hi. I saw you on TV last night. I went, oh yeah. And my voice is getting higher and squeaky. I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I love the paranormal, and proceeded to tell me her first supernatural experience, her first ghost story. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is who I am. This combines everything. I'm out of the broom closet. I'm out of the psychic medium closet, and I haven't looked back. I still have my production company, don't have time to do anything with it because this is like 3 full-time jobs. So I get to do, I mean, it was great because I was always about motivation and inspiration, but motivation and inspiration in just the world and basics and creating your life is much more fun than for the HR department at Mattel.
Very true.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and which is awesome because you kind of start unfolding, and that's been my biggest thing, I think, through my journey has been like you kind of closed off, and I work in this corporate world for municipal government. So you're like, don't tell them that this is, I do readings and we do, like, don't tell them that stuff. And then it, somehow pops up in conversation. You kind of let that one person in, but you're like, but shh, don't tell anybody.
Right. And then everybody wants you.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're just like living more authentically and be like, oh yeah, well, I don't know what
so
the big
they
deal
know what
was.
the heck, eh? Oh well. They
So is that part of what got you to write a book to teach people then? Is that part of your path?
What I found, again, in working, because I have private clientele, what we do, readings and sessions and coaching. And what I've found is that everybody gives away their power. It doesn't matter what their path is. Because that's what kind of the world wants us to do, what we say, we give away our power to fear, to other people, to limiting belief systems. So, and more, and equally is giving away our power is everybody's out of balance in our world. It's so fast-paced world. We are completely out of balance. I'm an elemental witch. I got to go hug a tree. I got to roll around in the grass. And a lot of people just don't do that. And whether you can roll around in the grass or not, we're out of balance. So I took all my magic technique that we do with spellcrafting, air and fire and water and earth. If you put it into your human body, your earth, that's who you are. Your fire, that's your passion, your creativity, what drives you every day. Your water and air in an elemental compass, you guys, west and east, that's your emotions and your thoughts, just like what it stands for. What if you take that into your personal, private life? The next time you're not as happy as you want to be or productive as you want to be, or even conscious and awake, we don't want to be asleep at the wheel, phoned in. Instead of going, well, I'm going to numb it out like I do, I'm going to watch TV or eat or drink or shop or do all those things people do to just not notice. I just want, what if I take that magical prophecy and with your basic mind, body, spirit of psychology or creation working dispatch of the craft and put that into little 30-second exercises, because it is great to meditate for an hour, but I'd never have an hour. I have 30 seconds to pull it together before I go on stage, before I film, before I got to this client, between clients. So using that mind, body, spirit, it's like, okay, if you're not in what you want to be, figure out, is it my emotions? Oh, that's my water element. I need to go run my hands underwater. Think how good you feel after every shower. Running water is like an aspirin for a headache. And if you do the mind, body, spirit with the thought process, air element, nobody breathes anymore, which is why we are all chatty and foggy, just breathing. I do a lot of Heka work, Egyptian magic, add some vowels. Vowels will clear the head every time. Think about it. Every sacred word is a vowel. Amen. Om. Native American. Hey, East Indian. Yeah. Vows that with whether you're talking to God, your brain, the gods, your heavens, your higher self, with this 30 seconds of deep breathing, 30 seconds of vowels, I need to pull in the air element. Om. Within 30 seconds, the chatter stops, the fog lifts. If you're emotional, if you're angsty, angry, sad, scared, 30 seconds of running your hands underwater with the right intent, mind, body, spirit, it's gone. You're not grounded and you can't hug a tree. Hug a tree. If you can't hug a tree, grab a pencil. It still has the spirit of the tree, the crystal around your neck, a wooden wall. There's wood or stone everywhere that you could touch. Right. The same thing, fire. If you're fire, you can't dance around a bonfire. If your fire's too high, you're going to be agitated and argumentative and angsty. If it's too low, you're going to be lethargic and not productive enough. You balance out your fire and you can't go dance around a bonfire. the heka, the sound for fire is that lightning strike is Z. Zzz. Like literally asking the 8-year-old, what does a bee sound like? Zzz. 30 seconds with that intention, whether you're talking to your beating heart, the breath of a dragon, Pele volcano, within 30 seconds of zzz, you will have the passion, creativity, fire, energy that you need. So I'm just like, I say this every day. I won't have to say this every day if I write a book. I would just like books, page 7, put simple life hacks into it, like putting magic into your day-to-day. Why you would put a pinch of salt into the toilet. All your lower chakras are open. When you release. It's a great big old water cauldron. Why you would carve onto your soap. Day-to-day life hacks to make your weight loss, health, love, talking to your deceased loved ones. In simple little, anybody can do it. You don't have to be gifted. You don't have to be a psychic or a medium or a witch. It's just stuff everybody can do. So this is my main book. I've been a part of like 20 different books. I've got a new one coming out with Llewellyn next year. I'm also part of a book about intuition with the Women Gone Wild series. But this is still my baby. This is my philosophy of life. You could read it in less than a day and change your life.
Which I think is great too, that it's simple things like that. Cause I often find that if I'm stressed or something like that, like I will go have a shower with that intention that the negativity is being washed off of me. Right. So, and I think that's a lot of things is it's the intent behind it when you're doing it. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Without the intent, it's nothing.
That's right.
Go through all the forms. I'm carving my candles. I'm stirring my herbs. Without intent, you're just carving candles and stirring herbs.
That's right.
Have that over properties they do, just like an aspirin will still take away the headache, but it's that laser beam focus.
Right.
Again, whether you want, and to get that's the spirit of mind, body, spirit of psychology. Mind, we know will never surpass our own thought patterns. If you don't think you could do something, you're not going to do it. If you think you're going to conquer the world and climb the mountain, that's the people who do. Basic psychology, we will never surpass our own belief system. Mind, body, you got to get off the couch. You got to get off the couch. You want to get healthy. You want to get a job. You got to get off the couch. Body, spirit, that's the part that people don't get. It's less tangible, but that's the battery that makes anything happen. That's literally, and you could do it. Also, you could do it through traditional religion. Go to church, go to temple. Prayer is faith to make that happen. You could do it New Age, vision boards, affirmations. That's the spirit to make it happen. You could do what I would be, spells and candles and herbs and oils and dance around a bonfire. But you guys, everybody out there can look at everything you've ever accomplished in your life and you believed you could do it and that you deserved it. You've got off the couch and then you've had some form of magic or faith or spirit behind it. The stuff we haven't quite accomplished, one or two of those things need tweaking. Maybe our mindset about it, that we really believe we can have it or can see ourselves have it. Maybe we haven't gotten off the couch, or just that battery behind it, and you tweak them and you get it. That's, a Christian will call that a miracle, a witch will call it a spell casting, a manifestation. It's all the same.
Right.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I always think it's funny because I talk to a lot of people about manifesting and bringing into your life what you want. And then I'll say to them exactly what you said, but you have to get off the couch. Like, right. Like you can't just like expect Mr. Wonderful to show up. He's probably not coming to your door to knock on it. I mean, maybe, but you got to put some things into it too, right?
Yeah. Again, that's a general mind, body, spirit. Or in my graphic creation, working dispatch, same thing. Creation. I'm going to do a love spell. Oh, I better do it on Friday. That's the day of Venus. Oh, I'm going to use some rose petals. It's the mind part. Setting it up. I'm going to do this. Oh, I better add some cinnamon. Mind, body. Taking action, you are carving, you're creating that bath, and the spirit is the dispatch, the magic of it. It's again, it's all the same. It's just like different templates we put on top.
Yeah. I agree with that. So It's interesting that you worked on all these different shows and things like that and get to show your passion. And I've got to see some clips of different ones. And I did really like that Portals to Hell, by the way. That was a really good, I was like, ooh, my husband had gone to bed. I'm like, ooh, that looks like my kind of show.
Yeah, it's so funny because I never ever know where I'm going. I knew they were picking me up in an event I was doing in Dallas, and I knew I was going to Memphis. That's all I knew, and then they drive you around in the car and they get you in so you don't say it. So it's even with Ghost Adventures, even with all my YouTubers, I don't know. If I do know, especially like with Zach, he won't have me. He wants everything so authentic. Like if I know there were 3 murders in there, I'm not going to go in and go, there are 3 murders. I know it. I'll be standing outside and say, this is what's here. This is what I've experienced. They want everything so authentic.
Yeah.
But I just never know what I'm getting into.
So what is the craziest place that you've been on that kind of an adventure?
I've had a lot of crazy. My most the darkest and weirdest place is the Cecil Hotel right here in downtown LA. That is the darkest. That's where they found the girl in the water tower and 2 different serial killers. I've probably filmed there more than anybody. We did a 2-part Ghost Adventures. I did a 4-part with my TFIL overnight guys. I just shot a CW show there. They won't even let you in anymore because sadly they're homing homeless there. Great concept, but somebody needs to clear that house. That building makes a sane, happy person want to kill themselves, and people that they're moving in are already like starting to jump out windows. It needs a clearing, but that place is so room by room, you just depressed, hopeless, horrible. And you see, since the second it was born, it's just been some big egregore is created there that just it affects living people and it affects dead people. It's got people stuck there. So that's the darkest. I think the evilest that I've been hurt is actually also in LA. It's the Black Dahlia murder house. That guy literally broke my ribs. The dead doctor, Dr. George Hodel, pissed me so far back into a chair. I went like this and I heard crack, crack, crack. And I thought it broke my ribs, but it pulled all the cartilage off my ribs because I dropped the ball. I didn't set up my wards correctly. I know what I'm doing, but you have to do it. And I think the weirdest thing that ever happened was filming too. I was doing a seance and somebody literally burst into flames.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
It was something disrespectful. It was an old house. It was also in Hollywood, in my neighborhood. I live in an old 1920s, the first movie enclave. And they were doing a film about this crazy haunted house. It had been built by Charlie Chaplin for one of his many girlfriends, Mary Astor. It was a total party house for years, for decades, Hollywood party and all that meant in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And then in the 60s, the Rolling Stones manager bought it. So the Stones stayed there, Mamas and Papas, Graham Parsons, all these super creative, high vibration people. Then they moved out. And then the person who invented the real life sex doll moved in. Got too spooky for him. Then he moved out. And then my neighbor, Marilyn Manson, moved in and for 7 years and actually got too spooky for him eventually. But we were at his house doing the seance and I'm like, be skeptical. That's great. Try to be open. But my one rule is you have to be respectful because nobody wants to be disrespected, good spirits, bad spirits. And this one kid, maybe because he was on being filmed, maybe because he was just kind of a smart aleck kid, kept getting really disrespectful. So it wasn't demonic. Demons get way too much credit. It was just a cranky ass ghost because big in life, big in death. And this was the old Hollywood spirit. Started first doing things like throwing the French doors open and everybody's screaming. And I'm going, wow, that's like special effects. But no, I would never, ever, my life would depend on not faking something. That happened again. And then the speaker on the floor, the old fashioned music speaker came on like white noise. It sounded just like a ghost man. That white noise, and it's building and I'm feeling the tension building and I'm like, oh gosh, but everybody knew what they were in for. Not like my home seances. We're only going to talk to grandma. Nobody else. But this was not that. This was to see what was there. But this kid said something so stupid, not him, but the cameraman facing him burst into flames.
Wow.
Be up his back, like angel wings of fire up his back. Everybody's screaming. 2 cameras actually caught it on film. Spontaneous.
wow.
Wow.
One camera started filming the ceiling or the floor. You test the metal of a cameraman with a small room with a lot of people bursting into flames. And the poor guy who was the cameraman is wondering why everybody's screaming and pointing at him as his back bursts into flames. So cool witch medium Patti becomes medic Patti, of which I am. I'm EMT1. I'm certified. You do it all. You have to if you live in this world. I'm like, drop and roll. And I'm calling in my guardians to shut this down, shut this down. This is not okay. I've never saw, this is not okay. You cannot burst into flames on my watch. Not okay, not okay, not okay. Shut
That
him
was
away.
rude. Yeah,
The guy who caught on fire, who was a super skeptic and non-believer, he was so intrigued. He was also a filmmaker who'd done some big films. He was just cameraman on this one. He's like, I'm okay. He was so intrigued by spontaneous combustion. Like, he's like, his shirt burnt off him like poof, like it was a synthetic, but it was cotton. It should not have went poof like that. I'm looking at the blistering on the back. He goes, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm like, no, you're not. He's like, okay. I go, if you go to the doctor later, okay. He had a sweater. I'll put the sweater on. I talked to the spirit, the angry theatrical spirit. I'm like, please, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. We're not even going to get rid of you at the end. We're going to, so talk to him more or less. The kid who caused it all with he was no longer going to be a trouble because he was like the choir boy in the corner now. A room bursting into flames. So we finished the seance, but crazy stuff happened. Glasses flying further than I've ever seen anywhere across the room with nobody near them. Tried to push that same cameraman off a cliff. We live in a cliffy area. But the happy ending to this was, which 3 weeks later, the cameraman who caught on fire, he said, Patti, look at my back. So literally where the blistering had been, looked like he had got a tattoo of a dragon on his back.
wow.
Open mouth, sharp teeth, winged head into the shape of a serpent. That is the exact energy I called in to shut down the seance. I work
Wow.
in magic. It's crossroads magic. Dragons are my gig. I'm like, I'm looking at his back with this, like, I'm like, oh my God, you have a tramp stamp of a dragon on your That is about the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he thought so too. They haven't done it yet. I don't know if they're going to, but he wrote a script about a TV medium who does every TV show out there and doing yet another reality show. And then a portal opens and then it becomes what I like, this funny, spooky horror movie. I hope somebody fabulous plays me if they do it. He wrote it with Stephen Norrington, the guy who wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series. I mean, Hollywood elite and way left of center. But on that, if they do it, I sat down with him. That's the thing about doing podcast, television, video. People have to be careful. I sat down with him for 5 hours with the script and I go, Laurent, you cannot say that on camera. He's like, but you said that in the seance. I go, I know, but that opens a portal. You don't want to be one of those cursed horror films, do you? It happens all the time. Poltergeist, actually, it's like a spirit and energy, good or bad, doesn't know the difference of somebody really saying these words of power or an actor memorize them off the line. You don't want to be one of those. You don't want where all the actors now die at 27. So we change the words that they'll sound just as mystical or just as magical or just as spooky, but they won't open a portal to hell.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Yeah, I did appreciate that show because I think like when you watch some of those shows, it's like everything is haunted, and I like some of these shows where it's like, yeah, there's some weird stuff here, but no, it's not a portal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit some weird energy, but no, it's not haunted.
Yeah.
So I love those kind of shows because
yeah.
I find they're more real and believable, and you can buy into them. It's like any reality show, really.
Yeah, and again, I can't speak for all of them, but I've for all that I've done have always been 100% legit. People don't get though, because like if it's an hour TV show, which is really 44 minutes, you film 4 days to get that 44 minutes. So if everybody's expecting ghost over here and ghost over here, ghost over here, and ghost, it's like there was some time in between.
Right. So when you do this kind of work, when the seances and the mediumship and all of that, can you talk to us a little bit about protection? Like, just tell people like how it is that you protect yourself, or what your belief is in that.
Yeah. I always are about protection. I will ward things. I'm elemental, so I will, whether it's call corners or call in dragons of the 4 elements. And I tell anybody, if you work with angels, call in your angels. If you work with Jesus, call in your Christ light. Work within that. My biggest protection thing is the rune, the helm of awe, that 8-sided cross. I didn't put one on today because I didn't need it, but I don't go into a haunted place without it. Whether you have a little medallion of it, in my book, or you draw it on a Post-it and stick it in your bra. To me, it's sacred geometry that breaks up negative energy. I work a lot with different oils and things. To me, the biggest place to shut down, you want your third eye open. Again, if you're doing a seance or you're doing a ghost investigation or whatever, you want this open, your third eye open, but you want the portal in the back closed. That's where spirit gets in, that right where your head and neck come together, that goes up and down with your head. That's why when you pray, whoever you pray to, you bow your head to let that in for spirit, for God. So you want to shut that down, unless you're like me, you're going to channel and you know what you're doing and you trust whatever, or people who channel, but you still have to have that controlled. But for people going in, you want open up here and close it back there. So that's always part of my routine. I work a lot with Palo Santo. I'm not a sage girl. I'm just not. I mean, once every 3 years, whether I need it or not, maybe is something for sage. I just think it's too harsh. It's misused. It gets rid of everything, the good, not just the bad. And you certainly don't want to get sage if you're doing a seance, mediumship, or a paranormal investigation, because it gets rid of spirits. But Palo Santo gets rid of the negative stuff, but not the positive.
Yeah, I love the Palo Santo.
Yeah, too.
I find energy is just it's different using it as opposed to sage, for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but again, I always have a bag full of oils, wands to direct energy, knives to cut energy. It's like Mary Poppins on crack, kind of.
you just do what you believe.
Yeah.
Your belief system, and you believe.
And the biggest thing, what people don't know, if they go in, again, number one is respect, whatever it is. Be respectful, because that's the only time you really get in trouble. And number two, all else fails, go back to your religion. All of a sudden somebody's doing the Lord's Prayer for the first time in 30 years. Great, go for that. But when all else fails, laugh. Oh my God, that is big. Number one, there's major reasons for that. Laughter, in Hecka work, it opens up your clarity. When you laugh, your air comes out of your mouth, and that's your life force. That's your pneuma. And when you laugh, the moisture in your breath is your free will. So it's not just, oh, God's here, I'm going to hear it. Well, as soon as you say something out loud, and the spirit, especially a negative spirit, won't know what to hit it. And just go, get out in the name of whatever you believe in. What you said at the beginning, it is all intent. In the name of Jesus, in the name of your cat, in the name of your Louboutin shoes, in the name of your higher self. It's like, you are not welcome here. This is mine. I firmly believe that this 3-dimensional gravity-laden world is our realm of existence. On the other side of the veil, that's their realm of existence. They get to run things there. But this side, it's ours. People just don't know that, so they give away their power. When somebody gets taken over by the spirits, that they've allowed that to happen, usually because they just don't know better. They just don't know better. Unless you have a severe mental imbalance or severe addiction problem, and then you kind of give up control too. But other than that, just claim it.
Yeah.
I love that, because I truly believe in that. I like to do some spell work myself, and sometimes I'll say to somebody, they'll be like, but I don't have that candle. And I'm like, well, just put that intent into it, right? Like, okay, you got a white candle and it's not black or it's purple. Just intend it to be that and represent that, right? And then that it works for you.
Yeah.
So but I believe that about just about everything in life, right?
Yeah.
It's all about your intention and where you're coming from. And
yeah, true. Have to follow what we believe. all the
Yep.
time, right? And the intention will always be there for us to keep us strong when we're working with it. You
Yep.
know, it's so true.
Yeah. So you're creating a new book
Yeah.
coming out next year.
Yes, I turned it in. It's on haunted dolls
I was going to ask you about that.
and puppets, magical puppets. It's haunted dolls from a more witchy pagan perspective, not just ooh haunted dolls, and puppets. You know, magical puppets are a big part of my magical practice. So it's on both haunted dolls and magical puppets. So this bell over here, she this one, the brighter, was given to me. Oh my gosh, I've had her 5-6 years now. A girl saw me on, it wasn't Ghost Adventures, it was a spin-off called Deadly Possessions, doing a seance with Peggy the doll. If anybody knows Peggy, she's in Zach's museum now. She gives people heart attacks. She gave 2 heart attacks, make people sick. And so I flew to this early days of the museum and did this seance with Peggy and helped this girl who had given a heart attack. So this girl had seen that TV show. She was in Belgium, and this girl, Belle, had made her sick for 3 years, made her little girl sick for 3 years. She did not know what to do with the doll unless she put it in the shed. So she asked me if I would take it, and I go, sure, because I could banish what I need to banish, and I wanted to see. So she sent her to me with permission. And this is how powerful that doll was. When I first opened it, I had never, again, this was several years ago, I had never done a Facebook Live before. I just had to, and I go, well, I should open her up on Facebook Live. I have good followers, but not millions of followers. Just opening the doll, the power of the doll, like 50,000 people watching me open that doll.
Wow.
It's not my people. I go, ooh, I got 300, or maybe I got 1,000, never 50,000. It was the power of the doll. And I opened her up and she was dark. I'm like, you're not living in my house with this spirit. So I banished it. I did not let the sun go down before I banished the dark spirit. I knew there was something else under there though. So slowly it came, this beautiful little girl spirit that was stuck in there came out. But I had to keep like her protective because she, even when the bad spirit was out, would drain people's energy bad. I used to keep little like Dixie cups of rue in her hand, protection things of keeping it there. But now she's part of the family. I have to keep her way back there because she takes stage all the time because people move, blink her eyes, move her head.
She caught my attention right away.
Yeah, so she's way back there. And the little doll next to her, this is what's really funny, is a little doll next to her is not haunted. A friend of mine, a dear friend, sent her to me like for Belle to have a doll, the doll to have a dolly. And the doll in green was sitting right here. And I was teaching at my school, teaching a class. And I'm looking in the Zoom screen just like this. And both my hands were seeable. And the doll who was over here, I'm talking to, literally moved 6 inches in by herself. Both my hands were here. All my students saw it, and I didn't. I'm just da 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 da. And I look back and it's like, yeah. And I tried to debunk it. There was nothing I could do. And I'm like, but the doll is not haunted. It is not. but I blew up the video. I watched an orb come from my bookcase right here into the doll, move the doll, and fly out. You guys, probably anybody watching now is going to be seeing all sorts of orbs. I have a happily haunted house here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like it just came in, moved the doll. So it was pretty funny. So, but that's her baby.
Well, that sounds like an interesting book. I'm excited to read that.
Yeah, you betcha.
And you said when we were just before we started, you started making panties. Can you tell us?
Oh my goodness!
That sounds so much fun.
Our panties. This is so funny. I have been doing this literally with Hollywood elite celebrities for years. Patty's Power Patty. Change your underwear, change your life. I work with sigils a lot, like the Helm of Awe, like and I work with sigils, a lot of different runes, a lot. So for years, I would be telling some like Academy Award winner, okay, you have this important audition where this exact color blue panties. Get yourself some this color blue panties. Picture this sigil or this symbol. Picture literal the word, what that word is. And then do this little like 30-second chant, little breath, breathe into it, and then put them on. Because when you think how intimate, the most intimate parts of your body is you're putting on your underwear, and go out and conquer the world. So for years, I have to have the right color purple and the right color blue or the right color green and these sigils. And now just this year, I've launched them for everybody, inexpensive, 25% off a code Patti. They're on my website now, but they're going on Amazon. Truly they work. We have them in, like, here's a bit love boy shorts, and that sigil on them is the love sigil. I've got here, let me pull it up right here. I'm leaving, I'm coming back. I'm leaving, I'm coming back. Have them for boys and girls. A lot of people do matching pairs. Like power, that is a power sigil. It is power. We have a lot of people, of course, want money, so we have wealth. A lot of people, intuition, success, and it's all in this power sigil, the little prayer that comes with it. We have high top, low top, boys, girls. It's so funny. Intuition, and that's the intuition sigil. You picture it, you do it. It's mind, body, spirit, or creation working dispatch. And superheroes have magical panties. Mormons have magical panties.
Everybody has that. That's awesome. I love that.
My favorite, how I was talking about my helm of awe and the paranormal helm of awe sigil panties.
Nice. I like that. And so you said there's a little prayer that comes with them that you
a little prayer, a little chant, a little prayer, breath into it, create what you want to do, pull them on, and you've got it. I've also really popular are my Claim Your Witch with a pentacle with runes around it. It's super empowering. It's super magic, and it's super fun. And everybody can get a pair of underpants, change your life. But with it, again, I also have a whole spellcaster line with t-shirts and hoodies, and I have a yoga line. Because again, my whole thing, like even in my book, is live your magic. Don't do your magic. On the moon cycles or on Sabbaths, I'm going to go be the no. If it's how you stir your coffee in the morning and how you get dressed and you charm your Crest toothpaste, now you're living it.
True. Yeah, that's very smart. Very good. I love that too.
Yeah. You don't think about that sometimes when you're just kind of going through the day. You're not really going through the day. You're just kind of doing the thing over and over. And and that's kind of been something I've been journaling about a little bit lately, is like, okay, I'm just like living the same day over and over and over, right? I'm getting up, brush your teeth, you go to work, you come home, right? And it's like, okay, I need to switch, change some things. Yeah. And, I think just that awareness of being like, okay, I need to make some shifts in order to create this magic in my life.
Yeah, because we go by rote. Again, we use the term by rote, automatic pilot, phoned in, sleep at the wheel. We don't drive a different way to work one day. Wear something you would not usually wear. Challenge yourself. Yep. Challenge everything. If you sit in this chair to watch TV, sit in that chair to watch TV. It changes everything.
It really does. Yeah, it does.
If you had one word of advice that you could give to everybody, what would be your advice to everybody?
I think my biggest thing besides, is I think it's change your perception about fear, because we live in scary times. We know we're just out of a pandemic, and now is there going to be war, and this World War III. Fear. The nation lives in fear. There's division. Fear can freeze us in our tracks. Fear can make us not make that phone call, ask for a raise, say what we feel. Yeah. Or fear is $1 million industry that I am in, People pay money to watch scary TV shows or watch movies or ride roller coasters and adventure travel. So why not the same fear? It's like, I'm so scared and I'm going to ride this roller coaster. I'm going to jump out of a plane and be like, I'm so scared, but I'm going to talk to my spouse or my boss about what I need and what I feel. If you flip your perception, you flip everything. So when I did that, this is when I got rid of my first. I'm supposed to have been long dead, long ago at 50. I went, no, I'm not going to buy that. And I gave up getting sick at 30 instead. Literally gave up getting sick at 30 instead of being dead by 50, as promised by the American Medical Association. And to prove that, I'm like, okay, I want to prove that we can do and believe anything that we believe. So being in the middle of Hollywood, I'm going to try out for the world's hardest obstacle course. That's what I'm going to do. So I tried out for Wipeout. That's the big balls. I beat over 100,000 people. If somebody who was supposed to be in a wheelchair are dead, and using positive magic, using positive spell casting, intent, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, and flipping my idea about fear frees you, fear inspires you. And the hardest, scariest, most painful, most empowering thing I ever did. And I went, okay, I did it. And then I'm like, okay, I want to prove that this thing works. What else can I absolutely not do? And what else am I scared to death of? Cooking. My husband I got kicked out of home ec. My husband won't let me in the kitchen. I don't know what saute means. So to face this fear and to beat the odds, I'm going to cook for Gordon Ramsay. Next thing I know, I'm scariest all get out as well. I'm on MasterChef season 3, cooking for Gordon Ramsay, Joe Bastianich, Graham, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, so this works. It's that scares. I'm so scared, and yes, jump in the pool. And then I'm like, okay, I got to prove it's not a fluke. I did the physical thing. I did the I can't cook thing. What else can I do just to prove this works? I am not any more special than anybody. I'm not any more smart. I am not any more gifted. And I'm doing things opposite of what I should do. The physical, the cooking. So what else should I do opposite to prove that if you're even could, America's Got Talent was on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get on America's Got Talent using my magic, my manifestation, my belief system. And again, my first audition, there was 5,000 of us at the LA Convention Center. And I knew that they were at every convention center, so hundreds of thousands. Next thing I know, and again, I'm sending out positive magic to everybody. You do good and you do good. Even like on MasterChef, it's like, you cook that. I didn't want people to burn their chicken, so I got ahead. Quite the opposite. I know, I am rolling on the floor of the theater with Howie Mandel, making a fabulous fool out of myself. And America's Got Talent. And we can do anything that we believe. I firmly believe that. And when we get out of our other 90% of the brain, we're even going to be able to break the laws of physics. Some people can now, but
that's true. That's so very
That's
true.
a wonderful message. I would agree with that. And I mean, you've done a lot more of that than me, but
we do it. It doesn't matter. It's just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Just face that fear to get over it. So I think that's
so that's what freeze or inspire. Go with inspire. Like, I'm scared. Yes.
but do it anyways.
That's true. Yeah, we have to push ourselves. If we don't, then we become so bored. And everything about us is too, right? So we have to push yourself into the next level.
Yeah, I don't ever want to get too comfortable. Comfort is highly overrated. Yeah. You want your couch to be comfortable, your chair to be comfortable, your bed to be comfortable, relationships, but not life.
Yeah.
All the good stuff's outside the comfort zone.
I agree. Yep. Enjoy life every minute because it's wonderful to feel at it.
Well, this hour has flown by.
Has it ever?
You have such wonderful energy.
You have very big energy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yes, here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, PattiNegri.com is the best way. PattiNegri.com, because there you can get to everything. My legitimate social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can get to my legitimate YouTube page. You can get to my school, University Magicus. You can get to Amazon for my book. And there's so much on there, so many free classes, free workshops, free everything. So just go to my website and then follow me from there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing space with us, and
Oh, bless you. I hope you'll come back on with us sometime again, maybe after your book's out.
I would love to. I would
Okay.
love to.
And
Thank
we
you
can
so
talk
much.
about- Yeah, that would be fun too.
yeah, that would
That'd
be fun. And
I-
we'll see what you're up to next, because I feel
Yes,
like
that
there's
sounds
going to
good.
be
Thank-
many,
thank-
many things.
Yeah, to come, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you guys for what you guys do for us in the community. That's awesome.
Well, thank
Thank you,
you.
thank you. We
Thank
love it.
you.
We love
Well, it's been a pleasure. So,
Yes, it has been a pleasure. Thank you.
and everybody else, follow along with us.